So thank you so much for being here. I can't stop smiling, obviously, because it's just really exciting. Someone asked me earlier, actually Chairman Gant, how many superintendents get to do this, not once, but twice in a year. And I asked how many new superintendents get to do it, and the answer is probably 0. So I know how fortunate and blessed I am to be standing on this stage, really standing on the shoulders of others who did the hard work, and then I helped push through at the end. So thank you so much for being here. It's really exciting to be here. And I just want to say that I don't think I've ever seen a more beautiful elementary school. So thank you for all that did the work. So you all know that Asheville City Schools has a new mission and vision. Our vision of empowering our students to reach their potential is, of course, what we want for all of our students. I don't know that is something that we can't do in this building because the building's so beautiful, it's just going to soak into their brains, right? And so this learn, discover, and thrive concept of making sure that all of our students are able to access the curriculum and to learn and thrive in Asheville and in the world is so important, but we can't believe that they'll be able to do it in a building that looks like this with a wonderful staff and lots of support in Asheville. So we're just very excited to be here. Our mission of excellence with equity is right in line with that same conversation about making sure that we reach all of our students in this building and across the city. And with the 21st century availability of technology and the resources in our new Issac Dickson Elementary School, I know 100% that will happen in our building. And so we're just excited to be able to give our students exactly what they deserve, which is a top-notch, beautiful facility. We have 3 focus areas in our strategic plan. I know, and you all know, if you ever hear me talk, I talk about them in every single speech because I think it's really important that we stay the course and that as we open up our new facility this year and have our first day of school for the traditional calendar on Monday, that we stay focused on what we know is truly important, and that is teaching and learning. Early childhood, academic achievement, and the whole child is what we will do in this building and in every building in Asheville City Schools to ensure that our students receive the very best education in the world. We are so happy to be here. We are so happy to have that job and honored and blessed to be a part of the future. I would like to introduce our next 2 speakers, former Principal Elida Woods and current Principal Mr. Brad Johnson.
Wow, it's so exciting to see this building. I cannot believe it. One day I'll tell you a story about these chairs and the children that pinch their fingers in these very chairs that you're sitting in. But not today. Today I'm going to tell you the story of how Issac Dickson came to be. Not the man, but the school. Almost 30 years ago, this very fall, in 1987, a group of visionary teachers and parents created a school within a school on the 3rd floor of Claxton Elementary School. Those teachers subscribed to a philosophy of teaching and learning called Foxfire. Rooted in the work of progressive educator and philosopher John Dewey, Foxfire teaching and learning is premised on the 11 core principles that support Dewey's belief that all genuine education comes from experience. The Claxton experiment lasted for just 1 year, though its beginnings had been fermented for many years before that. Over a long, hot summer, teachers and parents met with school administrators seeking a place to house a real alternative school. Then in 1989, under the district administration of Superintendent Doug Pearson, the alternative school opened its doors, or rather, I should say, they opened the back doors of South French Broad Middle School. And that's where we were housed. The alternative school grew and attracted many families and a host of amazing teachers under the amazing leadership of then Francine Delaney. In 1991, Asheville City Schools were placed under a federal desegregation order, and magnet schools were born. In the fall of that year, the schools were reorganized around 5 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and Asheville High. Taking the theme of experiential education, the alternative school moved to this location, not this building, to what had been Hill Street Middle School, and was renamed Issac Dickson soon after the doors were open. Since 1991, Issac Dickson has held fast to the belief that children learn best when learning is connected to the real world. Teachers at Dickson have always been careful to examine the efficacy of experiential education in the context of the high-stakes climate of accountability, and are committed to the fact that experiential education does indeed level the playing field and does indeed mind the achievement gap. I had the joy of working with some of the most amazing and creative teachers I've ever known. I'm so excited to see this new school that embraces and emboldens experiential education. I'm so grateful to my friend John Ledgerton and his associate Mike Nicholas for their deep understanding of teaching and learning that's reflected in this building. And to Brad Johnson for his continued leadership and the stewardship of a true legacy. But I'm most grateful to the teachers, past, present, and future, who keep the legacy and the passion for teaching alive. Thank you.
On behalf of the students and the parents and the teachers of Issac Dickson, I want to share our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has created and built the new Issac Dickson that we are in today. For the first time today, we had parents and students in our classrooms, and it felt vibrant and lively, and a place where students are engaged in their learning. From the classrooms to the outdoor spaces, this school was truly designed with children in mind. In this auditorium, the seats that you are in are refinished seats from our old school, built in 1953. The bricks that were used in the construction of this school, some of the bricks have pieces of the bricks from our old school, and on the walls below the hadrosaur in our reception area are boards from the stage that we had in the old building. And I share this with you because it was important for us to be connected to our past and the past of everyone who attended this school, and most importantly, to be connected to our namesake, Issac Dickson. Issac Dickson arrived in Asheville around 1870 with a letter in hand from the leaders of Cleveland County, declaring him to be an honest and upright man. That letter and the good deeds he did here in our community were the beginning of his real emancipation. In the 1870s and 1880s, Mr. Dickson and his family lived in Trinity Church, where Asheville's first black children were housed. And in 1885, the church was home to 200 congregants and 85 mission school students. In 1878, Mr. Dickson paid $275 for tracts of land off of Charlotte Street, and he soon rented the houses on property to freedmen. The area became known as Dixontown. One of Mr. Dickson's greatest legacies was his role in helping create Asheville's public school system, a contentious topic in 1887. Wealthy residents who sent their children to private schools didn't want to pay taxes to support public education. The black community support proved crucial as the proposal passed by a mere 4 votes. In July of 1887, the City Council appointed Mr. Dickson, by then a highly respected community leader, to the school district's first Board of Education. Mr. Dickson was the first African-American school board member in the state of North Carolina. At a time when Jim Crow laws progressively undermined African-American newly won rights, Issac Dickson not only prospered, but invested in many organizations that made Asheville a more vibrant community. His spirit lives on in the institutions that he helped build, and especially here in this school that has been bearing his name. Thank you.
Wow. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks for the warm welcome. Of course, I feel like I'm at home because when I was growing up in Ohio, this was my vacation place, was to come to Asheville for the summer. And I heard lots of stories about leaving the window open at night and looking out at Grandfather Mountain. That's what my mother would always talk about from her home in Asheville. And so I'm going to be obedient and just do 2 minutes of talking. But growing up, my mom and her sister used to tell us stories about Issac Dickson. But it seems like every time I come to Asheville, I learn a little bit more about him. I think it was 2 years ago, we went to the YMI Institute. I forgot the name of the street. But there I also learned how that was built. I don't know if you knew that Issac Dickson went to George Vanderbilt and asked for assistance in building the YMI Institute because he also saw value in helping men, I guess, who were freed slaves to learn how to live on their own and be independent and have good work values and family. I'm just thrilled that this building is here, and it kind of right up my alley. It's green, it's got solar, energy, it's like all the things that I like. I don't know, do you serve organic food in the cafeteria? But I just knew that, just from the stories that my mother and sister shared, that he valued education. I think his story is just amazing. To grow up as a slave and to take that and just overcome all those roadblocks, barriers, and just say, okay, I want to do this. I think I need this. If slaves are going to be successful, they need an education. Let me get on the board of education. I mean, all of that's amazing. But all of the family couldn't come today because of the schedule in school, but we all plan to come back in September when the fun stuff comes and all the kids are here. So that's the plan. So I just want to give, just say on behalf of the descendants of Issac Dickson, to thank you and the architects for designing this beautiful building. I think it represents his legacy, and it really shows the person that he was. So thank you.
Okay, this is so funny because you keep saying I'm a parent of Issac Dickson, but I'm really a surrogate parent. We're Jones. Okay, I just want to tell you right now in our family. But I've spent a lot of time at Issac Dickson, and one thing I've learned about this community is that they own this school. And what I mean by that is that this is their home, this is their place, their teachers, their faculty, staff, their parents, and students. This is their place, and you better not mess with it. That's what Duke Energy found out. So we spent a lot of time making sure that this was a perfect result, and I think you will agree that everything is turning out fabulous. As a Jones parent, I will say, though, it's interesting in the city of Asheville how the dynamic with all the elementary schools, there's a little bit of a competition, and I have to say I think Issac Dickson's winning now. So, so I will exit the stage. I just want to know one more time, what is the dinosaur's name? It's a, what is it? How, thank you. Oh, of course. One of the students, I'm going to have to get that one down. Havasaur. It's not, one of the ones you know right off the top of your head. So that's really exciting and so special that you get to have such a great entrance to your school. I think it really says something about learning happening here. So that's wonderful. Thank you for listening to me today.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here with Commissioner Belcher, Vice Chair Newman, and it's really a pleasure to be here with Commissioner Jones because, as has already been said, she's the reason this school's here. Because there was a time that when Holly, I didn't think my name was David Gant, it was David, we need to do something about Issac Dickson. In Asheville Middle. We already covered that one last week. But thank you, Holly. Let's give her another hand because this really is... Because as Esther said, as the mayor said, it's the county that funds the city schools. It is kind of a weird system. And this school was funded competing against everything else the county does. So you rose to the top and got the money that would have gone to law enforcement, that would have gone to other education, would have gone to public safety, would have gone to recreation. And because we want to make an investment in education because we think that's the most important investment we can make. The vote was 7-0 to build this school. And I'm proud of that. All these guys here voted for it and pushed for it and advocated for it. And that doesn't happen all the time, because there's differences of opinion about what's the most important way to spend limited county money. This is also a historical day. The big history is that this is the first time we think in North Carolina history that a county has opened not one, not two, but 3 schools in the same week. We're mighty proud of that. It wasn't always like this, folks. 30 years ago, Buncombe County had a reputation for its schools, but it wasn't the kind of reputation any community wants. We actually made the dilapidated dozen, according to the NEA, for not North Carolina, but for the United States of America. We had one of the we were 9th worst school in construction and maintenance in the United States of America, in Buncombe County. So Issac Dickson wouldn't like that one. He wouldn't have put up with that. He would have done something, and he did in his time. But what we did after that, you elected good people, and since that, we've built 21 new schools, and we've renovated every school that we had. And so now I think we're probably closer to the other side of that dilapidated dozen, which is the good side that we want to be on. Because this is what you have to invest in. This is very important. The funding was also really important, and I thank Holly and Joe and Brownie, because we had a situation where we had money for school buildings, but it was pro rata. It was by a daily attendance. And the way the formula was set up, the city schools would never get enough money to ever build a new school. So thanks to these folks, they pushed it, they put it to the top, and we're glad to be here. But I think Issac Dickson would have liked the 65 public meetings with over, 1,160 people weighed in on what this school should be and what it shouldn't be. I think he would have liked the idea that when we build new schools, it's what new companies want to know about. I have the pleasure as chairman to meet with people that want to move here with their businesses. 90% of the time, when we're in the back talking, we're having a good meal somewhere, maybe having a drink, they say, well, tell me about Asheville. Well, we know what the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development said. You tell me about Asheville. And they say, what about education? And they often want to see the schools. And if we fail we could have the best teachers, the best students, but if we fail in facilities to keep it that way, we're missing the boat. We get an F on that one, and we don't want to do that. But I'm telling you, that's the way it works today. They want to know you got good schools, you got good facilities, and they're going to come to downtown Asheville, and they're going to go to Asheville Middle, and they're going to go to Issac Dickson, and Mayor, they'll probably go to Jones when they catch up. Just kidding. They don't have, it comes and goes. The last thing that I just want to tell you is that your commissioners, ever since I've been a commissioner and continuing into the future, we will invest in the schools. It's not just one group. We all work together, and you see that in places like Issac Dickson, where everybody really is a unit and moves ahead together and gets behind together. But now we're moving ahead, and we're going to stay ahead. So folks, it's just an honor to be here. This is number 11. I don't know anybody that's had the pleasure of opening 11 schools, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you for pushing us to do the right thing and to make sure that we have the best school system. Our kids deserve it. Our teachers deserve a decent place to live. When we were in the dilapidated dozen, you couldn't flush 2 commodes at the same time. You'd flush a commode and the water fountain wouldn't work. And we've come a long ways. We got to keep that. I think you have a commission that will continue that. You have a school board that gets it. And it's a pleasure to serve with them and with the people from the past, Bobby and Alan. Y'all are wonderful advocates. Pam, you are a wonderful advocate now. And let's keep going the right way because our kids deserve it and our future depends on it. Thank you.